see that Sonja Crawford wants to signed up quick and says that her dream is short. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where is Sonja? There you are.
Yes.
Hi there. Hi there,
Hey.
Sonja. Okay. So you heard everything I said.
I
And
did.
okay. And you are we're gonna take your dream. All right. So here's what I'm gonna suggest you do. First, I'm going to suggest that you tell the dream at least twice. And the first time, yeah, and the first time we hear your dream, we're going to just kind of all take it in, including me. And then I'm going to ask you to tell the dream a second time and a little bit slower so I can start writing some stuff down. How does that sound?
Sure. Okay.
Okay. And if you can, tell it in the present tense as if you're having the dream now.
Okay. And thank you. Those who know me well might be surprised. I'm a real introvert and I don't usually speak up first, but I want to examine this. So, and I will say this is a dream I had last night, and it is very typical. I just had this really kind of similar dream in different ways. And as I said, I am a flight attendant in real life. So, okay, I am on an airplane at work. As usual, it doesn't look like an airplane. There's a large room and it looks like a classroom, like from elementary school. And there's two large rooms. There's a first class and a coach. There's 3 flight attendants. It's time to pick up trash. We're getting to the end of the flight. I'm on a cart. Maybe there's 2 of us. I can't remember. I come to a guy on an aisle seat. He's a tall black guy that looks like a basketball player. And he looks kind and gentle and has a sweet aura about him. He asks for a cup of ice to take with him. It's getting close to the time to land. Instead of getting it after I finish picking up the trash, it seems important to stop and get it now. I go look for a pilot cup, which is a larger styrofoam cup with a lid. Of course, it's not where I think it is or where it should be. So I start looking in all sorts of nooks and crannies, which starts taking a long time, and we're getting close to landing. The 2 other flight attendants are standing around talking and not helping clean up. I start getting more anxious about finding the cup and about picking up and taking care of the other passengers. I finally get the attention of one of the other flight attendants. I pause in my quest for the cup and I go back to the cart to start picking trash up again. About the time that we do this, everyone gets up to start deplaning, and we're trying to maneuver the cart back into its slot. It continues to look like a school, an elementary school where people are leaving. Oh, where they're leaving, it's a regular door into a hallway that looks like a school. The guy has waited for me. I never do find the proper cup with the lid. In the end, I just have a regular plastic cup with no lid. I fill it with ice and bring it to him. I can't remember if he takes it or not. He smiles, thanks me, is kind and gracious. We laugh together about not being able to find the right cup. Of course, I do find plenty of other cups, including styrofoam, but they're not any larger than the regular cup.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Was that short enough?
Yes, I think we're going to work with that, and we're going to get as far as we can. And then at some point it'll be back to you, and you'll get to work with it some more. But let's see what we can do. So as you tell the dream again, I'm going to write down elements that I'm hearing, and then you can tell me if I've missed anything. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Do you want me to read it like the same way? Is that,
Yes,
that work? Okay.
And a little tiny bit slower so I can write.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on an airplane at work. As usual, it doesn't look like an airplane. It's a large room, looks like a classroom in an elementary school, maybe. And instead of passenger seats, it's a regular seat or a chair with a desk. There's 2 large rooms, first class and coach. There's 3 flight attendants. It's time to pick up the trash. And I'm on a trash cart. Maybe there's 2 of us, I can't remember. I come to a guy on an aisle seat. He's a tall black man looking like maybe a basketball player. He has a kind, gentle, and sweet aura about him. He asks for a cup of ice to take with him. It's getting close to time to land. Instead of getting it after I finish picking up the trash, it seems important to stop and get it now. I look for a pilot cup, which is larger, with a lid. But it's not where it should be. And I start looking in all nooks and crannies. Which takes a lot of time, and we're getting even closer to landing. The 2 other flight attendants are standing around talking and not helping clean up. They're not helping clean up. So I start getting more anxious about finding the cup and preparing to land and taking care of passengers. I finally get the attention of one of the other flight attendants. And I stop looking for the cup. We get the trash cart back out to start picking up again. But about the time we do this, everybody gets up and starts deplaning. So we're trying to get the cart out of the aisle and back in its slot. And again, it looks like a school classroom. People file out a regular looking door into, I can kind of see into the hallway. It just looks like a school. The guy has waited for me. I had never found the proper cup with the lid. So in the end, I offer him a regular plastic cup with no lid, filled with ice. I can't remember whether or not he takes it. He does smile and thank me, is kind and gracious. We laugh about not being able to find the right cup. As a side note, I do find plenty of other cups, but they're not the one I was looking for.
Okay, let's see what we can do. Now, imagine, if you will, that you have everybody that you've written down a dream, and then you get out your legal pad, and you've got your dream, and you've got your legal pad, and this is what you do on the legal pad. You just make a list of the images, the elements that show up in the dream, including the objects, the people, what sounded like the tension between, do I get the ice, do I get the trash, including the feeling anxious. you make a list, leaving some space in between each element. Alternatively, if you really want to use up some paper, you can take each element, write it in the middle of a page, put a circle around it, and do bubbles, thought bubbles around it, where y'all have perhaps seen that done in creative processes, and you can do it that way. In fact, that's the way our dream groups do it, is we take elements, we take one or two elements on this piece of paper and we do it that way. Okay, so now we begin. So if you will, Sonja, give me
Yes.
some words that you associate with the airplane. And maybe these two go together. I don't know. You tell me. The airplane and work, because this is your workplace, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Ugh. Okay. Anything else?
I don't want to be there.
Okay.
This is just my first thoughts, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
yes,
filtering.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And I kind of married those two. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else about the airplane?
Frustration. I love my job, you can tell.
Well, this might be, this whole dream might be a comment on something like that. Yeah. Okay. Frustration, don't want to be there. It's your workplace. Ugh. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Now, it's really interesting that that image gets overlaid by the idea of a classroom.
And that frequently happens in these dreams.
Okay. And not just a classroom, and I failed to put this down, but it was elementary school.
You know, I was thinking about that when I was writing it down this morning. And I mean, it could have been middle or middle school. It just looked like kind of a standard. I mean, I'm 50. So back in the day, kind of standard building, class building, but.
Okay. What do you associate with this?
I don't know. Learning, growing up, maybe. I don't know that anything else comes to mind.
Did you have a good experience in school?
Mostly.
Okay.
I maybe even in my dream, I wonder why it doesn't look like an airplane. Like that, I'm aware that this is an airplane, but it doesn't look like an airplane.
So the dream is taking you back to school in a funny kind of way.
Yeah.
Back to school. And back to school dreams are very common.
Yeah.
Very, very, yeah. And depending on what school you go back to, whether it's elementary school or middle school or high school or college or postgraduate work, that gives you a hint about what this dream is about. That's why I wanted to, highlight the fact that the first time in your telling of it, it seemed to be elementary school, but it is back to school. So does that, I don't know, does that suggest anything to you?
I mean, like others have mentioned, I mean, I've always thought about going back to school. I even applied to law school one time years ago. Haven't I haven't ever done it. But I do like to learn, do a lot of, I mean, I, did the spiritual direction training. I do, I love these CEU stuff. I mean, I do learn and read and curious and stuff a lot.
So as a setting for the dream, because this is kind of a morphed together setting, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to kind of, is it possible? I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. Are you being called to learn something in this dream? And
maybe because, go ahead. Are you?
Yeah, learn something in this dream. It's being presented as a classroom. Are you being asked to learn something in this dream? And it might have to do with work. Obviously, it's overlaid on work. And it's pretty elementary. Let's not lose the, right? Let's not lose that. It's something maybe elementary because that's where you went. That's what the dream said.
Yeah.
You have to recognize these plays on words.
Okay.
Because our dreams are great punners. They will pun. Okay, so there's that. There's that idea. And the fact that you're laughing means maybe that meant something to you.
Well, I like I said, I've had this type of dream over and over. And so like God saying, or maybe whatever, learn something, or, you're going to keep hearing this.
You got it. That's what I think. That's the way I'm taking it as well.
I'm kind of tired of it.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we can do here. So all right. Is there significance to the fact that there seem to be two classrooms and two sections of the airplane? One is, right, you said one's first class, right?
Yeah. Coach.
So any significance to that in your, do you usually work first class, the whole plane? What does that mean?
I usually am in coach, but you pass through first class a lot. And I usually fly like the smaller aircraft. I don't do international with the big, lots of stuff going on. That doesn't seem really significant, just that it's kind of how the airplane is, as opposed to a classroom. I guess it just does seem like the meshing of two different settings.
Okay. Let's not lose though, and I don't know if this means anything or not, but there's the word class in two places.
Okay.
All right. And so when you say there are 3 flight attendants, does that include you?
Yes.
Okay. In a minute, we're going to talk about these flight attendants. Are they flight attendants you recognize from your work? Or are they they're just flight attendants? Okay. Are they both female?
Yes.
Okay. If they are both female, then we start with the supposition that these are aspects of your shadow.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and stop now, and we can talk about how they are in the whole of the dream. How would you characterize them in the dream?
So like I usually work in coach. So I think I kind of saw that girl more. I think she and I were on the trash cart together for a while, like starting to pick up. And so I really wasn't aware of what the other girl was doing because she's doing her thing in first class. But then I, kind of drop off to go get this guy try to find his cup of ice. And I think she just kind of stops and disappears somewhere. But maybe, and I think I get frustrated because I think she didn't finish. And then if the other girl didn't come help, because we're getting close to landing and there's, a lot to be done. It's kind of like, what are y'all doing that you're not doing your job?
So
They're not taking it as seriously as I am. And that's a common feeling and theme in these dreams for me as well. Sometimes I'm the only one that seems to think it's important.
okay.
Is that what you want?
Yes, exactly. So the shadow aspect didn't finish, didn't help, not doing its job or their job, not taking things seriously. And this is in your own chat. This is you.
Yeah.
Where are you not finishing or not taking something seriously? Or is it pointing out, maybe, are you taking things too seriously? That's where the discernment comes in.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's where the discernment comes in. What are these shadow women showing you? And do you need less of them or more of them? You know, that kind of aspect.
I will say, this kind of seems significant. I was really angry with the girl in first class for, why didn't she come and help if we're struggling back there? But then I felt like it occurred to me later that she was taking care of that she wasn't totally finished, that she still needed to do some stuff up there. And so I had this thing like, why did I berate her so much in my mind? When she was doing what she needed to be doing.
Okay. And in fact, in the dream, the way you told it, you were the one that was distracted for an awful long time, looking for the cup, right?
Right.
You were the one not.
Yeah.
So that, do you see how that reflects and mirrors back to us? There's something not being attended to, or maybe there's something that needs to be, there's some discernment here. How much attention are you giving to what and why? Something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing that wants to be paid attention to. Trash. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So tell me about trash.
It's messy. It's cluttery. It's cluttery. You don't want too much of it. And you should also, on the airplane, you should stack it up properly. You shouldn't just throw the cups in the trash can. You need to dump them out and stack them together to be efficient with your space.
So that brings up, where's the trash in you? Where's the trash in your life? What needs to be addressed? What trash needs to be addressed in you? And when I say that,
there's no trash in my life. My life is. I'm laughing. I say, there's no trash in my life. My life is perfect.
And the trash, it might be pointing to an environmental issue. It might, but it also might be a kind of pointing to some train of thought or some perspective or some
Yeah,
approach to something or some attitude towards something that needs to be.
that resonates a lot.
Okay, all right. So we'll put a circle around that then. And that's more work for you that we won't do now. But
Yeah.
that's the thinking. What trash is being addressed here or failing to be addressed? So there's that. Okay, let's keep working a little bit more. So I'm gonna stop right here, right quick, and check in with all of you in the group. Is this making sense? Is this hanging together? Okay. All right, great. And as we do this, we can hear that Sonja is having a couple of insights as we go along. Is that true, Sonja?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Now, because the dream is set in your workplace, that's the first place to look as far as your trash. Your inner attitude maybe about the workplace, which you've already stated. It's pretty trashy. I mean, I'm putting words in your mouth, but that's a place to begin. Is this, in fact, something about work? And so here we go. All right.
I will give you this bit of information. I've been there 29 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's all I've ever done. I am like right now, I have a year off because of COVID, and it's by choice, and so I do that as much as I can. I keep the job, but so I'm not there a lot, but even when I'm there, I don't want to be there.
And how long have you been having this dream?
Oh, I don't know. More than 10 years.
Okay. And it did, in fact, your attitude toward the job change 10 years ago?
Yes. It's changed over, maybe even a little before that, but yeah. Yeah, it's not who I am.
So as a working hypothesis then, just as a working hypothesis for now.
Yep.
We can go with, this is addressing trash in your job.
Okay.
If something else pops through, you can tell us. Okay. All right. The trash cart itself, I know this thing. I remember this thing.
Yes.
The little cart that comes down and they pick up. Okay. And so, but it plays a significant role because it seems to be in the aisle, and then later it has to be moved out of the way. So do you have anything significant that comes to mind about the trash cart itself? Or is that just part of the process of getting the trash together?
I think it's part of the process, although I did kind of have the thought of why are we trying to pull this thing back out in the aisle when people are going to be there? Why don't we just get out of the way and let them leave their trash on the seat, or why don't we have a bag instead of the cart? I don't know how significant that is, but that thought went through my mind as we're pulling the cart out.
Because the cart is proving to be what in the dream?
In the way.
In the way. It is something in the way. So you can ask yourself, what is in the way of either my attitude toward my job, or me leaving this job, or me doing something different in my job? I don't know. You'll have to, what is in my way? What is the opposite? And it's trash. It's trash. Now we come to this fella. Now, this is an animus man. This is animus, right? A male figure in your dream. This is masculine energy. And tell us again what he's like.
I mean, he looks like a basketball player. I mean, or what you would stereotype, you know, kind of tall black guy. I think he's wearing like a, you know, warm up, the athletic attire.
What else did you perceive about him?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
What else did you perceive about him?
Oh, just, I mean, he had this aura of kindness, gentleness. I wanted to help him. I wanted to enough that I wanted to stop what I was doing. Even though time was of the essence in this picking up the trash job, I wanted to stop and help him.
Okay, so let's take a minute with him, if you don't mind. Let's really take a minute with him. And let's see what he might be representing or bringing to you
Okay.
in this dream. So say more about him. Just what do you, and he is a black man, and he is a basketball player, or appears to be. So he's wearing athletic clothes, you said. Warm-up clothes. All right, and he's kind and has an aura, and you want to help him. Okay. What is he? What does he represent to you? What does he mean?
I don't know. And I mean, it's kind of when I was thinking about it this morning, I felt a little bit bad that I was stereotyping a black guy. I don't know. The more I think about it, I guess I'm kind of intrigued as to what it was like this connect, I guess kind of really a connection in the midst of, you know, why would I stop? Why wouldn't I say, hey, can I get that when we're done? Or will you hang on? But why was it so important that I stop in the midst to help him? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So a couple of interesting observations about when Black people show up in white people's dreams and when white people show up in Black people's dreams. That all by itself signals something coming from the other, the unconscious.
Okay. Let me say this. I am Episcopalian now as well, and I'm on a commission on racial justice and reconciliation for the diocese. So
there we go. So that is that. Here we go.
That's the guy.
That's the guy. That's the guy. It very well could be a reference to that work. And what does that work entail?
What do you mean? Or what do I do?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, the commission, I mean, we do all kind of things, you know, education, we have workshops on race. I mean, and actually Thursday before this started, I was on a 2-hour Zoom call I'm on the executive planning committee on this commission, and we were just kind of looking over the year ahead and what were all our offerings. We do pilgrimages, like to EJI in Montgomery. We have one day, like a full day anti-racism training, I guess is what you call it. We're just trying, you know, offer book reads, just all kind of things for the diocese.
And what is your calling to this work? How did you get called to this work?
Oh, I guess in a soundbite, I would say I I fell into it. I have a heart for justice work, and people on the margins, and this presented itself. I would say if I was picking, my biggest passion would be environmental things. And I've kind of been, during COVID, been able to get back to some of that, but they're just, the opportunity to do this was there and it seemed like the thing to do.
Okay.
So here I am.
Okay, so the dream, in fact, may be looking at that in some way. I don't know. It seems to maybe suggest that, you know, dropping your day job, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
To help this fellow, this fellow. I don't know. That might be a layer of it.
Yeah.
That might be a layer of it. But let's remember this guy is an animus figure. And he is unknown. I mean, you don't know him personally, but there is a
Right.
connection. And there is an energy that he brings, that masculine, in a type of masculine energy that he brings. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. What kind of masculine energy does that fella bring?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, an energy that he's somebody, I mean, he's Black, so society often views him as dangerous, but he's not. He's kind and gentle and, I don't know, just like me. And he can laugh with me at the fact that I was like discombobulated and stopped doing my job and went and looked in all these nooks and crannies and never did find the right thing, but we could laugh about it. Is
Okay.
that
Now, yes. So is this any kind of comment then on the racial reconciliation work that you're doing?
I mean, I think it's,
Are you looking, I mean, you're looking
we're
for
trying,
things
I think, trying to bring some of the truth to light, that the way we've set our country up on a hierarchy, that some people are higher and in a different class than others because of the color of their skin, and it's a lie.
So this is deep and important stuff
Yeah.
that you're looking to serve.
Yeah.
Some trash is getting in the way. And there's some shadow aspect that's not helping the process in some kind of way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is it that you're trying to find for him?
He just wants a cup of ice to take with him because he wants to get a drink out in the airport. And he wants, I don't know.
Okay. Does that have any kind of meaning for you?
No, I mean, not really. I mean, not that I can obviously see. I mean, it's something small and seemingly insignificant, but yet I treated it as really important.
So that is really, that I once heard a really good teacher say about dream work: pay attention to the low, the dark, and the small. And this might fall in that category. You said it's just a cup of ice. but I think it might be more, and it might require your attention,
Okay.
whatever that might represent. What might be small to you might be extraordinarily significant to someone else. To someone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so then it's time to land. So there's a time crunch going on here.
Yeah.
There's a time. And so I'm so interested in when time is pressing us in a dream. It's almost as if, and in my dreams, it's a shorthand for it's time. In other words, it's time to become conscious. It's time for you to wake up to this thing, whatever this thing is, it's time. And also here's the tension of what to do. The job, the trash, versus this significant act, this seemingly insignificant act of service that you give significance to. This, I think, it might be that this is the crux of the whole business right here.
Yeah.
Where do you put your attention?
Yeah.
Where do you put your energy? Where do you put your time? Because it seems like a long time is spent looking for just the right thing.
Yeah.
Now, here's the next thing. Why is it important that it's this?
It's important because that's the biggest cup I have on the airplane, and it has a lid. So it would be just the right thing for the guy to have.
It's just right.
Yeah, like Goldilocks.
Yes, like Goldilocks.
Just right.
So Sonja, let me ask you this. Are we getting somewhere here?
Yeah.
Feel like we're getting anywhere?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're on the right path.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay. So I
I feel the tension also, like, oh, I don't want to look at it. Let's just go on. I feel that tension too.
Okay, right now.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay. And we can stop right here.
No, I don't. No.
If that's enough to get you started, but oh boy. So doing just this little bit has got you kind of wiggling in your seat a little bit. Okay. We're on to something. Huh?
I feel a ton of energy. This is Roger. I feel a ton of energy in what we're doing.
Do you?
Thank you, both of you.
Interesting. Yeah. And I'm so cognizant of not taking up people's time. So if any way this is too long, please stop.
Well, and some of these, as I wrote them, are a little bit repeat of what we've talked about before. The finding the cup versus the trash, and the tension about that, and the search for the just right thing.
And again, this is so repetitive. It might be different things in other dreams. Like some of it might be on takeoff, where I'm trying to get people are coming on and they have tons of luggage, and I'm the only one trying to put it up. And it's a time thing to take off, or I'm looking for space for stuff to stuff it in or whatever.
And is that idea related to picking up the trash, sorting out your baggage?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was in the luggage business for a long time. And
yeah.
So when bags come in, when suitcases come into the dream, for me, I know, oh, boodle, it's my baggage.
A baggage.
Yeah.
And like, I think of one, I can just see an image in one dream. It's like somebody brought on a bicycle, and, I was supposed to, it's all kind of stuff. And usually I'm the only one that cares, that it gets stored properly. The other flight attendants are blowing it off.
Fabulous. Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
guys. Thank you, everyone.
Now, wait a second. Hold on. This fella ain't going nowhere. Waited. He waited.
Hey, yeah.
He waited. And not only did he wait, but he was a sweetheart about
Yeah.
it. You said he was kind, he was gracious. You laughed about it. There was such a connection with that masculine energy and what he must represent, which seems to be a very important kind of energy that he's bringing to you. That's got, I don't, you'll have to think about that, a basketball player fella who is kind and gracious. I've got tons of ideas of what that would mean to me. I will not speak them because it's your dream. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And in the end, you do, in fact, finally give him what he needs.
But it wasn't in the right cup, but I.
Right. Not the right cup, but it worked and it was okay. Right. In the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess too, it seems like I don't even know if he took it with him or if he did, maybe he was just being polite, but that really no longer seemed important, that it was just, I don't know. We laughed at my getting tense and being in a flurry. We laughed at all of my anxiety, and that, I mean, maybe the important thing was being kind and connecting. It wasn't the ice or the cup. It was almost like I didn't say any of this to him, but maybe like he was observing me, kind of like, why is she getting so spun up about this?
Okay. So that is a great question to ask yourself. When do I get so spun up about stuff?
All the time.
And why, and there is an inner something as represented by this man that will say, honey, you're okay. It's all right. It's okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's bringing tears.
We got it. And guess what? It might not matter what cup. It might not matter what cup. As long as as long as you're there. So we got somewhere, I think. Yeah.
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 It feels like it. Thank you.
How are you going to honor this dream?
Whew. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to. You know what? I think I have a blown glass cup in my cabinet or glass, I guess, from an art place here in town that I never use. I never can find the right use for it. Maybe I'll set it here on my desk, unless something else comes to mind.
So to honor the dream, you're going to get the piece of art glass. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It's a art.
I mean, it is to be used, but yeah.
Excellent. And just have it out for a while. Maybe
Okay.
use it. Yeah. Yeah. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
For being brave enough to kind of put this out there, right? And what I'll do, and when we work in our dream groups, I usually give these to the dreamer. And so what I can do for you is I can take pictures of it with my phone and email it to you.
Okay.
So we'll do that. Now I saw a question. I think, oh, can you please say more about when people of different races show up in dreams? So let's talk about that for a moment. Because there's layers and layers and layers that go with that, especially in light of the fact that Sonja is in fact working in racial reconciliation. But we must be honest with ourselves. Most of us, I think, here have grown up in the Deep South, and we're in the thick of. If we don't think race is an issue, I don't even know how to express myself. I mean, I think of us as like fish in a fishbowl swimming around in water, and we don't know what we're swimming in. We have no idea what we're swimming in. And so race, when people of another race show up in our dreams, we have to acknowledge how we grew up, where we grew up, what attitudes we were infused with, even if we have rejected those attitudes as adults, as our lives have evolved, as we have embraced our Christian witness, we have to acknowledge that we grew up in this place and with these attitudes swirling around us. So that impacts that. It does. That is, so we have to just acknowledge that in us has been implanted certain ideas about people of other races. We have heard it from our culture at different times. I'm 62. I came of age. I was born in 58, so I was 10 years old in 68. Of course that impacted me. So we have to acknowledge that on one level. On the next level, we can go to what has been our personal experience with people of another race. What has been our personal experience with people of another race? And we have to acknowledge that as well. We have to acknowledge how folks of another race are portrayed in our culture. Sonja mentioned, I hate to stereotype a Black man as a basketball player. And that is a prevalent picture in our popular culture. We have to acknowledge that. All of these things go into how we regard someone of a different race. At bottom, someone of a different race is a shadow aspect of ourselves. At bottom, and this goes with any race against any race, that they are shadow for us. And indeed, if we could address this shadow issue, one of my great teachers, Jeremy Taylor, who unfortunately he died a couple of years ago, he was a Unitarian minister in California. And he used to have, in his work with racial reconciliation in the 1960s, he used to have dream groups that had different races, and the work of dreaming together and talking about one another's dreams was particularly intense and unifying. So I hope that I've answered the question. Say more about when people of other races show up in our dreams. There is the background of what we grew up in. there is our own personal experience, there's the cultural portrayal, all of this impacts, you know, how we regard, and then how that person shows up in the dream. This person showed up as particularly helpful. So we take that at face value. This is a helpful masculine aspect. Just a moment, folks. Our janitor just came in. Had to shut the door. Okay. Did that answer that question? I hope. Or let's see.